Hi, I'm Mark Stewart, Chief Engagement Officer for Neural Impact. In our two previous videos, we talked about some of the fundamental shifts that we've seen in customer buying behavior. And secondly, we looked at a high level, how we accelerate the sales process itself. How do we realign the selling motion and the buying experience? Right? In this session, we're going to dig down into the first phase and what I would call the most important phase of that selling methodology, which is the qualification. Right? People make decisions early, right, in their buying experience, and then they look for evidence to justify those decisions as they go through their experience with vendors. We know that. Right? People make emotional buying decisions and rationalize them with logic. Like, we know that about how people think. Right? So the work that we do here at the beginning is the most important. And now I'm going to share with you today 4 tactics that you can immediately deploy to all of your selling cycles that will significantly change how prospects engage with you. The first is emotional discovery. Today, the majority of the discovery we do with prospects is very logical. We look for what features and functions are most interesting to them in their search. We ask them about budget and the decision-making process and the decision selection process and who's involved and all of those types of things. Right? That's not what they're interested in at all. If you actually ask a prospect what they care about most in order of priority, they'll say, my business problem. Right? Secondly, what functionality do I need in a new system to solve that problem? Third, where's the business value in this? If I've got a finite amount of money to spend, why should I spend it on this particular project? The fourth thing is, where's the risk in me not getting the business value if we do fund this? The fifth thing is, how do we actually select a vendor or select a solution from all of those that are available out in the marketplace? And the sixth thing is, how much does this stuff cost? Right? So you think about how we typically drive our own discovery processes. We typically go bottom up. We start with the money and then the process and then who's involved, and we go about it all backwards. Right? So the single most important thing that you can do to drive a more powerful experience with prospects at the beginning is to start to talk about what they care about most, emotional discovery. Where's that emotional resonance going to be? The second thing we do as it relates to emotional discovery is to sequence our questions in more of a what and a how and a why approach. Right? What is the domain of the logical brain? The how is the domain of visuals and pictures and business processes. And then of course the why is the domain of the emotions. Right? So structure your questions in a what, how, why sequence, and you'll drive a far greater level of engagement with prospects. The second tactic we can bring to this what we'll call enhanced qualification process is an educational insight. It's absolutely critical that we teach prospects something that they don't already know as they're going through their discovery with us as well. Right? So if we all know the same thing, we can't differentiate ourselves from everybody else. Right? So we need to think about how this particular industry uses our solutions, be it Power BI or cloud backup, or if you get down into sort of the professional services example that we continue to use through these videos, how can people potentially, collaborate on different projects and project documentation and proposals from different parts of the country. So start to think about Microsoft's broad cloud solution set and how it could be really used in an interesting way in various industries. And you bring that learning to the prospect. When we teach people things that they don't already know, they look at us through a very different lens. Right? Third thing we can do in what I'm going to call an accelerated qualification process is a buy-in demo. Prospects always ask us for demos at some point in their selection process. Right? So let's bring the best parts of our solution, ideally focused on a given industry or vertical, to the prospect before they ask. We want to do that as early as we can in the qualification process. Right? So you have to think through, what are the 3 or 4 or 5 really cool, interesting things that prospects wouldn't know about how we use the system that we could show them through a remote webcast on the first telephone call. Right? We'll get into that a little bit later. Right? Fourth thing that we can do is called an alignment email. At the end of this qualification process, we want to have collected enough information to send this alignment email that documents, here's our understanding of your business challenges, here's our understanding of the capabilities that you're looking for, here's our understanding of what the impacts are to your business today, the pain that you're experiencing as a byproduct of not having this new system in place or these new capabilities. And the fourth thing is an action plan, a very high-level action plan on what we do moving forward with them, right? Those are the four things that belong in the alignment email, right? So what I would suggest you do is get your hands on copies of those assets that I have pre-configured specifically, for this particular program, and I would start to implement them as soon as you possibly can. Configure them for the industries that you pursue. Start to experiment with a different way of discovery. Start to think about how you could offer up buy-in demos remotely to show in 5 or 6 or 7 minutes the coolest part of your solution set that you think would have a visual impact on the prospects that you speak to most regularly. So with that, I would highly encourage you to participate in the next video, proof phase, where we will focus on what happens when we come out of qualify and now the prospects want to see some form of proof that everything that we've shared with them in qualify actually comes true.